The cafeteria went silent the moment his voice echoed through the room. "Hey, quiet girl. You think you're too good to talk to us?" Every head turned. The bully, Derek Collins, 6 feet of swagger and cruelty, was standing over a petite woman sitting alone at a corner table. Her name was Mei Lin, a new hire in the company's warehouse division, soft-spoken and polite to a fault. She'd only been there for 2 weeks, and already she was the target of whispers and sideways glances. But that day, Derek wasn't satisfied with whispers. He wanted a spectacle. "Come on, say something," he sneered, his voice dripping with mockery. "Oh, wait, do you even speak English?" A few of his buddies laughed, that ugly kind of laughter that feeds off someone else's humiliation. May's chopsticks trembled slightly in her hand, but she didn't look up. She simply took another quiet bite of her noodles. That silence enraged Derek. "Look at me when I talk to you," he shouted, slapping the table so hard her lunch spilled. Everyone froze. The hum of the cafeteria machines, the chatter, even the clinking of dishes, all stopped. May finally looked up. Her voice, when it came, was calm but firm. "Please stop. I don't want trouble." Derek grinned, mistaking her composure for fear. "Trouble? You already got it, sweetheart." He stepped closer, towering over her. Someone whispered, "Man, just leave her alone." But Derek didn't care. He was the kind of man who fed on dominance, who needed people to see him as untouchable. And yet, he had no idea who he was provoking. May slowly rose to her feet. She wasn't tall, barely 5'3", but there was a stillness about her now that made the air heavy. Her eyes were steady, unblinking. "I said stop," she repeated softly. Derek laughed, puffing his chest. "Or what? You gonna fight me?" A few coworkers stepped forward, trying to defuse the situation. "Derek, come on, this isn't worth it." But he shoved one aside. "Nah, let's see what she's got. You wanna act tough? Let's go. Right here, right now." For a moment, May didn't move. Then she sighed, put her chopsticks down, and murmured something under her breath in Mandarin, a quiet apology, almost a prayer. Then she stepped into the open space between the tables. Someone started recording on their phone. Derek smirked. "This'll be quick." He raised his fists, mocking her, throwing lazy jabs in the air. "Come on, little lady, show me that kung fu." The laughter stopped 3 seconds later. May moved like water, smooth, controlled, terrifyingly precise. One quick step forward, a pivot, and her open palm struck his forearm, deflecting his punch before it even reached her face. His arm went numb instantly. Before Derek could react, she stepped in again, another pivot, this time driving her knee into his midsection with the force of a hammer. The air left his lungs in a painful grunt. And then, in one swift, almost graceful motion, she spun, her foot arcing upward. The sound of impact, her heel connecting with his jaw, echoed through the cafeteria. 30 seconds. That's all it took. Derek's body crumpled to the floor like a sack of grain. Out cold. No one moved for several seconds. The only sound was Derek's unconscious breathing and the faint hum of the vending machine in the corner. May exhaled slowly, straightened her shirt, and quietly said, "I asked him to stop." Then she picked up her bag and walked out of the cafeteria. The video went viral by the end of the day. Millions watched it online, the quiet woman standing up to a racist bully and dropping him with surgical precision. Comment sections filled with praise and outrage. Some called her a hero. Others demanded she be fired. But the truth behind that 30-second clip was much deeper. May had spent most of her life being underestimated. She'd grown up in a small Chinese village where she was teased for being small, quiet, and bookish. Her father, a retired martial arts instructor, taught her self-defense, not so she could fight, but so she could protect herself when she had no choice. Power, he told her, is not in striking first, but in knowing when to strike at all. When May moved to the US, she carried that lesson with her. She wanted peace, not conflict. She wanted to build a life, not destroy one. But peace, she learned, doesn't mean silence in the face of cruelty. Sometimes it means standing up, not to win, but to remind others that dignity has its own strength. After the incident, HR launched an investigation. Several employees testified on May's behalf, saying Derek had been harassing her for weeks. He was fired. She was asked to return, but she took a few days off to think. When she did return, something had changed, not in her, but in the people around her. Co-workers who had once ignored her now smiled and said hello. Some apologized for not stepping in sooner. And May, ever gentle, simply nodded and said, "Thank you." Months later, Derek showed up at the warehouse. Not as an employee, but as a man humbled. He asked to see her. Security hesitated, but May agreed. When he stood before her, bruised ego replaced by shame, he couldn't even look her in the eye. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "For everything." May studied him for a moment. "I hope you learned something from this," she said softly. "Anger is easy. Respect takes strength." He nodded, tears welling up. "You're right." She smiled faintly. "Then we both win." The story of Mei Lin became more than just a viral video. It became a reminder, a powerful one, that courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it stands quietly until it's pushed too far. And when that moment comes, even the quietest person can make the world go silent. Moral: strength isn't about size or volume, it's about character. And those who live with grace and restraint often carry the fiercest power of all.